and welcome to Game Buzz, the weekly podcast from us here at dealspone.com, where we dive headfirst into the hottest topics from the news mill from the past 7 days. I'm your host, Matt Gardner, and I'm joined once again by Carl Phillips.
Ew.
And by Jonathan Lester.
Hi there.
And let's kick this Game Buzz off with some good news, because after months in the kind of wilderness, Watch Dogs has returned to the forefront of the news mill with a release date and some information on why it was delayed in the first place.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, first of all, Watch Dogs is finally coming out. It almost became vaporware for a little bit. It was really worrying, kind of almost touch and go for a while. The game just 4 weeks before it's supposed to come out just dropped off the radar. Ubisoft stopped talking about it, but it's coming out in May, and basically the reason why they delayed it is that it wasn't ready.
Yeah,
That's legit. Legit reason, yeah.
Seems legit.
Yeah, see, EA, delay it, and they're going to delay the game when it's not ready, and then release it when it's ready.
But shareholders, someone think of the shareholders.
Well, the same shareholders who are launching class action lawsuits.
Yep,
Those shareholders.
those guys.
To be fair, though,
Those crazy guys.
Jonathan Morin who's the creative director on the game, in a couple of interviews, basically said, that took balls from Eve. Because, you have to turn around to the people who are funneling money at you and go, it's not ready. We need more time. Please be patient. And do you know what? The shareholders have every right to turn around and go, no. That's... What are you doing with our money? I like this entire thing. I like this entire story. I think it's great. Do you know what? Yes, more time is awesome. And they said something very, very interesting. They said that when it all came together, because this is the thing, in the development process, especially on a large game, things tend to come together only really at the end. And they said, when we played it, it was just, we hadn't noticed it before, but things got really repetitive. And I like that. I like that, everything came together. They played. They didn't just go, sorry, let's just release it. I think it's a very interesting move. Interestingly, though, it kind of puts pressure on Watch Dogs now even more to deliver. It's sort of solving all of those sort of open world criticisms we might have had at the end of some last generation. It's going to be interesting to see the final product for Shao.
Definitely. I mean, the thing about Watch Dogs is that it relies on all of its incredibly complex systems working properly together.
Yeah.
The driving, the hacking, traversal, shooting, the dynamic, civilian AI, the simulation, all of it has to work. And all of it has to, there's so
Again,
many
EA,
parts.
making simulation work.
Oh, yeah.
I wonder if sort of the police start kidnapping children on the way to school. Maybe. It's an Easter egg. It's fine. It's not a bug. It's an Easter egg.
Oh, man, more companies should probably use that excuse. That's a brilliant
it's an ode to EA. It's not a bug.
It's an Easter egg.
Oh.
Yes. Oh man, why haven't they been doing that? That'd be brilliant.
Yeah.
Oh no, they did. They did with Dead Space 3, didn't they?
They did.
When they found that exploit, that sort of exploit that lets you sort of farm currency instead of paying for it. Yeah, they were like, oh yeah, we totally meant to put that in because we love you. There's precedent there. Go on, do it more. But you know what? When a game's got all of as many moving parts as Watch Dogs has, they've got to make sure they're all the wheels are oiled, and hopefully this delay is going to lead to a seriously good game.
Yeah,
it better.
It's just it. Yeah, that's what I hope is the fact that it's been in development so long now. It kind of needs to be good. And do you know what, though? If they're confident in that, if they're confident in saying, look, it needs more time, they know they're putting pressure on themselves to deliver. They clearly want this game to be the best it can possibly be. And do you know what? I'm betting on Ubisoft Montreal to get it right.
Yeah.
They have a number of times before.
I got a question though.
Mm-hmm.
How excited are you about it?
Oh,
Because
yes.
I don't know about you, but I kind of feel like it pulled a bit of a BioShock Infinite way back in November, because the hype train was traveling at maximum velocity. We're so excited. We'd been going to the sort of 11th hour preview sessions, and we'd even tried out the companion app. Well, that's how excited we were, and we were excited because the app was really good. and working
It was really
back
good.
in November. It was really fun. And then suddenly they delayed it, and the hype balloon just popped. And I'd just be interested to know like how psyched you are about it now.
Well, do you know what? I actually think they've given us enough time to get re-excited for it. And to be fair, the early year release slate is not stacked. So I'll be playing Titanfall right up to when I'll be playing Watch Dogs.
More to the point, it's great we're going to have something to play in the summer.
I know, right?
Hell yeah, I love that. We've been saying this for years. I love it when games say, yeah, let's release in the early summer. Awesome.
So yeah, I mean, it's going to be the biggest game at that time. It's going to be one of the only big games at that time, and it's going to be a generation bridger, which means everyone can get stuck in whatever platform you're on. Do you know what? I think there'll be time to get excited. How about you, Carl?
I'd say on a scale of 1 to 10, I'm reasonably excited. That's my assessment. It's one of those things where, like, I mean, we always knew it was going to be a very good game from what we saw, but it was not on any of our most anticipated lists, and it was something that one of our viewers actually picked up on.
Yeah.
It was like, oh, where's Watch Dogs? Are you guys excited? Yes, we are, but there's other stuff that's always kind of like been there, stood out just a tiny bit more. And for me, that's always been the case with Watch Dogs. Like, it's always looked impressive, but there's always been something else that's. I think it's because we've had plenty of open world stuff coming out, and the hype with GTA, which I'm sure also may have factored in a little bit with the delay. But yeah, I think it's definitely going to do well. I'm eager to play it. I'm still not sure whether I'm going to pre-order it yet, though. But yeah, I'd say it's all looking very good, and the fact that they've said they've changed stuff up to be less repetitive, I'm thumbs up, frankly.
Yeah. I think as well, to your point, John, I think it's been in the public eye for so long. We've been excited about it, just generally excited about it for so long because it's an Ubisoft Montreal game. It's open world, it looks really cool. That it's kind of almost a safe bet, so I don't have to hype myself up to be excited for it. If that makes any sense, kind of like I'm just like, yeah, I'm gonna play that game. Next, I guess I'm not sure if that makes sense, but it's kind of. I don't know. That's kind of how I feel about it.
That's cool. That's cool. I feel much the same though. I'm still not. I'm professionally excited to review it.
Yeah.
I don't know how much because I was bouncing off the freaking walls last year. I don't know how much of the personal actual excitement I have back yet. But as you said, we got a few months to go, and you better believe they're gonna start getting that hype train back on track.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Yes. Let's move on. Let's move on to some other big news from this week. This is some huge news for Sony. Cuddly Uncle Jack Tretton is leaving Sony after nearly 2 decades. And do you know what? Like what I find interesting. Interesting. That was terrible. What I find interesting about this is actually the reaction that that we've seen across kind of some of the forums, the nets, and a lot of stuff in our comments as well. There's some genuine kind of disappointment and sadness about this because he's been such a visible figure and I guess such a positive visible figure for Sony. I don't know. What's your guys' take on this?
He's always struck me as one of the good ones, I mean, literally the very first thing I thought was E3 is never going to be the same.
No.
Because do you know what? I mean, he's got a really good public face of all the Sony and Microsoft executives, of all the major executives who take to the stage. Tretton was the one who he brought an air of confidence without smugness that very few executives have ever managed to do, apart from perhaps Andrew House. Most other executives, they're up there looking really satisfied with themselves. And don't get me wrong, I mean, over the last few years, Tretton's had every reason to be satisfied with himself. I mean, the man brought the PS2 over here and was instrumental in cementing the PlayStation brand in the West. That was literally his job. But he always seemed to be, at least from his public appearances, to just be a really genuine, likable guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, it was, culminating. Admittedly, at least now he gets to leave on a high because he's never going to top his sort of Xbox One crushing, microphone dropping, emphatic performance at last year's E3, is he?
No. I think we've spoken in the past about the importance of communication, and do you know what that's the job of an exec in this industry in this day and age. Like, you have to put your point across, and you have to be affable enough to connect directly with your consumer audience. And I think Tretton's done an enormously good job on that over the years. I think it was we had a comment in our on the news post, Teddy 1590 just saying, bringing up the PSN outage, which was a key moment. That's like a key sort of component of how you carry yourself, like in terms of communication as an exec, is obviously how do you deal with your mistakes. And I think he was like, Teddy was absolutely right there. Like, Tretton did seem genuinely embarrassed and apologetic. And do you know what? To know that you have, or at least to feel like you have someone at the top of the organization that you've bought into caring that much, it matters. It matters to gamers. And I think, yeah, Sony will miss him.
Yeah, it's a real class act. I mean, we'll miss him at E3 as well. It's unclear whether or not he might rejoin a different division of Sony in some capacity. He may well stay on the board in some capacity, but they're remaining pretty tight-lipped about that. He's almost certainly leaving, Sony Computer Entertainment.
Yeah. So yeah. Tretton's leaving, but someone else is coming back, and his name is Shaq.
My God, I didn't. What? Why?
Best
Why?
segue ever. It was amazing. It rhymed. Yes.
No, but now you've ruined it. You had momentum. It was punchy. It was great. That was one of the best segues ever. But now look what's happened.
Now we're explaining it, and it's
now you're explaining it. The magic is gone.
Yeah.
Okay. Shaq Fu 2, everybody.
Yeah. Well, it's here, kind of. Needs to be funded because he doesn't want to put his money in for some reason. But yes, it's definitely a thing.
Well, Shaquille O'Neal has just said, right, okay, Shaq Fu was a piece of crap. And he pretty much said that. He's pretty much willingly admitted that in what is the best crowdfunding video you will ever watch for anything. It is outstanding. Said, look, this was crap, but look, I've got together a bunch of devs who worked on some actually pretty decent games. Like, some of the devs worked on Halo and some of the Final Fantasy series, and unfortunately their CEO worked for Saber Interactive, who are really, really mediocre. But even so, they've promised that they're actually going to make a good game out of this. They've promised they're going to make a game that actually would stand up on its own without Shaq in it. A game that's fun, I really like the art style. When you look at the screenshots, I think it looks really cool.
It does.
But what he said is this, because like as soon as I saw this, I thought, why the hell is he asking for money? Like that is cheeky as hell, right? But the campaign makes it very clear that he's going to put all of his money behind it. But he basically wanted to let gamers get some cool swag if they want.
Yeah, it's one of those things
That's literally it.
It's one of those things that we've seen on Kickstarter a lot, and it's something that is often difficult to pick out. Like, where is a game in development? Does this project genuinely need money to be funded, or is it just sort of a cash grab on the negative sense, or just kind of they gauging interest? And the thing I like about this is, as you said, it's really upfront. It's like, like Shaq doesn't need money. Like, yeah, he can fund this, but it's like, do you want some cool swag? Do you want to be part of this?
Do you want to come play basketball with me for a bit? Do you
Yes.
want to come hang out? Like, if you throw in $500, I'll like follow you on Instagram and comment on your stuff, or at least my PA will.
I want that $750 video intro.
Yeah,
Imagine
like you
that's
can
like
even
Deal's
you can
phone.
chip in money. You can chip in money to become an unpaid concept artist if you really want to. Like, there's just loads of. It's just like a fun way of drumming up a bit of publicity. It's upfront about the fact that it doesn't need your money. Everything it's going to release anyway, and it's partly it's also about just seeing what the interest is like.
Yeah.
But it's a really bad way of doing that because all the cool rewards are stupidly expensive.
Yeah.
It's asking for a massive amount of money, and just to like put the cherry on the cake, it's on Indiegogo, which is where crowdfunding goes to die. Nobody uses Indiegogo. I'm sorry, but they don't. But even so, I mean, I gotta say, it's simultaneously one of the best and most hilariously tragic pictures that I've ever seen.
I have to say, it's completely worth it for that shot of Shaq in what can only be a custom-made 7-foot something mocap suit.
So amazing. They've made him mocap pajamas with an adorable little hood. It's so great.
It's the best thing. I want to see
Like,
it
as I
happen.
wrote in that, that's the whole reason I wrote that post. Like, it was literally a vehicle for that photograph. I just wrapped some text around it.
Like,
It's so great.
I know Shaq Fu was enormously shit, but it's become in some ways it's gone down in legend for being as crap as it was, and I kind of want to see this come good.
It's time.
It's time.
It's so very much time. And do you know what the best thing about it is? Lexis Numerique has no part in it whatsoever. So it might actually be good.
It won't be Shaq.
Or at
Amy,
least
then.
average.
It can't be
or at
Shaq
least-
Amy.
It might be crap, but it won't be shit.
No, because they won't foo it up.
They won't fool it up.
Brilliant, Shaquille. You are just a genius.
Yeah.
Genius, absolute genius. I want to touch on a little bit of OnLive stuff today because there was some big news from OnLive this week. We all kind of forgot OnLive existed a little bit,
Yes, we did.
but they didn't go away. They've been quietly building up ideas and support. And do you know what? I always thought OnLive was a little bit before its time because it relied so much on something completely beyond its control in internet infrastructure. This is something we've said. I mean, Carl, you said internet infrastructure was kind of your big thing for this year, what you wanted to see pushed this year as well. But like, OnLive 2.0, letting you play your Steam games on the go.
Yeah,
Yes.
when available.
When yes.
available.
Asterisk
Yeah.
when available.
That's the big thing. I mean, it's a really cool feature, and it's a shame that you really, because you've got to pay your subscription to get access to that. Because it would have been a really great way of doing like a cheap install of the like the Steam in-home like Steam streaming.
Yeah.
I say, yeah, you can pay like the £10 for like the OnLive subscription service, but you can have the what's it called, the Steam streaming for free. You can use it for free. That would be awesome because then they'd sell like the £99 like OnLive box, and then you'd have the online service if you wanted, but then you'd have the Steam streaming stuff. Don't know why they haven't done that, to be honest, but yeah,
Because
yeah,
then
that's
suddenly the Steam box becomes totally pointless.
Well, no, not at all. No, because the thing is, you've got the big Steam boxes which they've been showing us, but as I've said time and time again, they haven't done the cheap option to get in the home so that people can do streaming from their big rig upstairs to downstairs TV.
Which would be which would become an OnLive box.
Yeah.
I
Just
think
make Steam machines obsolete. I love the idea. Don't get me wrong. I
don't know why they haven't done it, frankly.
Yeah.
But yeah. As it stands, yes, you can stream certain titles of your Steam library to OnLive.
Do you know? I think it's a nice idea because essentially, as you said, it sort of opens up the possibility of being a stream box, and also you can take it on the go. It works on any Android device. You can get an OnLive app on the Ouya, for God's sake, and tablets and mobiles and stuff like that. And it is a nice cheap way of getting stuck in, but as you say, the selection is really limited right now, and I can't help but feel that they've done it again. That they've kind of jumped the gun again, because what would have been great is if they'd gotten like a few more publishers involved, like a few more games on that system, and then said, look, do you know what? This is awesome, and this is how many games we've got. It's freaking brilliant. Yes, but they didn't do that. And I agree with you in terms of the subscription as well. It's really confusing that the Playpack and Cloudlift are exclusive to one another, because you think, looking at Cloudlift, which is £3 more expensive than the Playpack, you'd think that actually the Cloudlift might include that Playpack, but it doesn't.
Yeah.
Which
That's
means
the big
you
issue.
need 2 subscriptions to really get the most out of OnLive, which seems like an overly convoluted thing.
Well, that's what the 2.0 means, mate.
Yeah, there is that. So again, like OnLive, really promising, really awesome, very unique. They're still this is one of the only people in the business doing this. So really pushing things forwards, but also kind of just jumping guns, like maybe again.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
God damn it! I will say this though. Do you know what? Over the last couple of years, they've really tightened that service up. It's very, very nice indeed. As well, as it was originally intended. And the internet infrastructure's gotten better. If you are looking for a cheap way into gaming, that's still a really, really good way to go.
And more to the point, if you've got a big Steam backlog, but you've got a really crappy PC, it's all the graphical grunt is handled remotely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I guess that's probably why they haven't done the in-home sharing actually, because their whole infrastructure is based on remote streaming from remote servers rather than in-home single Wi-Fi network stuff. But even so, like, I know full well that some of our regulars have been going Steam crazy, but don't necessarily have great PCs. So this could be an interesting little option.
Good indeed. Right, let's move on from that to talk about some stuff that we've been doing this week. John, you've completed Ground Zeroes.
Sure did. Took me 1 hour 50 minutes on the nose.
Oh hell yeah! So
yes, I did.
So that's not worth 30 quid.
Well, probably not, but I'll tell you what, the game is actually a lot more promising and better value than it first appears, because you complete basically it's a playground, it's a sandbox, it's like a great big open world's not the word, because it's a base, but it's a great big sandbox with loads of rooftops and tunnels and watchtowers that you can just scamper around and enjoy all the cool new retooled mechanics now that Snake basically is Sam Fisher. And, which is no bad thing, because you know what, the Metal Gear Solid controls, I love Metal Gear Solid, but they're so much better now. But the point is, it's very replayable. You unlock loads of new stuff, so you can, like, after you've completed the playthrough, so you can go back into it and try to complete the objective in different ways. And then you unlock loads of cool side ops, like set at different times of day with really varied, really interesting objectives that run the gamut from like blowing stuff up in a helicopter or like doing a daylight raid on the base, or like stealthy, actually Hitman style assassinations. They're without raising the alarm. It's really cool. And it looks the business on PS4 as well. I tell you, it looks great.
That sounds very exciting indeed.
Yeah, I don't know. Thing is though, I don't know whether it's going to be worth 30 quid. I will say that, like, as much fun as it is, I mean, it's a massive tease.
Yeah.
Oh my god, it's a massive tease. I mean, Kojima's already admitted that it was basically just a tutorial for Metal Gear Solid 5, and they never intended to release them separately. And then he was like, actually, hang on, there's some money to be made here. It feels like a tutorial that you're paying this amount of money for, and I think the jury's definitely out on the value proposition, but I think if you can find a cheeky little price for it, it's going to be a fun little way, just as much as anything, to get used to Kiefer Sutherland.
Yeah. I think yeah, it's quite interesting, because there's not a huge gap, is there, in between Ground Zeroes and MGS5? When does MGS5 release? Oh god. Do we even have a release sort of window for the Phantom Pain? I have no idea.
Not that I know of. No, I
But,
haven't
like,
seen anything.
so that's the thing. I'm not sure, because it is going to be a massive tease. We kind of always knew it would be that sort of prologue chapter to MGS5 proper, and I think waiting until it comes down in price is probably something that I'm definitely going to do.
Yeah, but I mean, it's not like this isn't something new. As you pointed out, Gran Turismo does this all the time.
Oh god, yeah.
Like the last few years, they've brought out the prologue. You've had a few tracks. You've gotten used to the game, and then when the main one comes out, you pretty much acclimatized to the controls and everything else. So it's not a new practice at all.
It's not a new practice, but
and whether it's worth the money, it's all, like you say, it is now really subjective, because, in fairness, there was only a limited amount of stuff in a prologue game for Gran Turismo. It was just the replayability and getting used to it and everything else. And it depends, like, if they add in, this is something that I really wish they'd put into Revengeance. If they'd got like online leaderboards to show, like, compete against other people how well you've done, kind of like the Hitman contracts thing. If that's included, then yeah, there'll be plenty of replayability.
Well, I'm glad you asked. As I wrote in the article, like, replayability is pretty high, because not only have you got the very versatile mechanics to dick about with and the big open base to dick around with, you do have challenges as well. Yeah. There are asymmetrical online challenges. They work a lot like pretty much every game that has online challenges. So every game. So there is a fair bit of replayability there. The only, like, some players are going to love it, But the thing about like Gran Turismo's prologues is they don't have a story, and they certainly aren't going to end on a cliffhanger, and they're not going to leave that sort of, oh God, come on, really, you've just set that up, and now we've got to. I paid money to torture myself. I actually paid money to torture myself. So it's going to take. That's the thing. I think it's going to be a very Marmite proposition, this one. But
Yeah.
I really, really liked what I played.
It sounds good. It sounds good. I'm quite excited for it. Yay! March is going to be a good month, you know. Oh,
March is crazy.
so
like,
much coming
awesome
out.
great games
It's
coming out.
it's already been a pretty good month for South Park fans because we've had the Stick of Truth, and oh my God, it's out, and it's so good. It's so amazing. And I wanted to ask something of you guys because do you know what? If you're not a fan of South Park, just don't, it's not a game for you. Don't go away. It's not for you. But it is definitely for South Park fans all over the world because it's brilliant. It ties into the show in unbelievably detailed fashion. And so I wanted to pick your guys' brains on sort of your favorite kind of licensed titles from over the years. What's your favorite licensed game?
I'm not. I think if
Star Wars does count, by the way.
Star Wars does count. Well, in that case,
I'm not just talking film title. I'm talking an IP from outside the games industry brought into the games industry to kind of create something.
I would still go with what I was just about to say, which is Lord of the Rings: Two Towers.
Ooh.
That game was so much fun. I really, really enjoyed that. That's one that just pops out. I mean, yeah, okay. You've also got the X-wing games if you want to talk Star Wars, and I'm sure what was it with the Star Trek strategy game.
Oh, that was going to be my big shout. My
Yeah,
absolute favourite licensed game ever is Birth of the Federation.
That's the one.
That
that's a
game,
good shout.
Oh my God, Microprose developed a freaking brilliant 4X game. I'll not hear a word against it. It just had these amazing. It just felt like you were playing the show, like right through the whole Next Generation chronology, and even into Deep Space Nine as well. So you could play as all of the major races. You could wield all of their fleets and all of the classic ships in really cool 3D turn-based combat. And my favourite thing of all is that all the minor races were in there too, with loads of random events. So you'd meet the Edo, you'd go to Rubicon. And if you remember that episode, they're a really peaceful, very childish society, but they're looked over by a massive Death Star, basically. Like a robotic defender that protects their planet from all assault, so they don't have to worry about defending themselves. You meet that thing, you find that thing, and if you can convince after it kills you, when you manage to talk to the Edo and convince them to join you, it becomes yours. And then the crystalline entity turns up, and a ball cube turns up, and there's a massive three-way fucking fight with the Edo Guardian and a shitload of Defiant class fucking whatever the hell, I can't remember its classification anymore. Birth of the Federation's fucking great. I'm wittering, but the more recently as well, I think Scott Pilgrim versus the World absolutely is one of the best licensed tie-ins ever.
For the comics, for the graphic novels, it is fantastic. Oh my God, it's so good.
Just I would say just for all of it, it's just how you do a license. It's how more licensed games need to be done, rather than trying to fill out a £30 purchase with a 4-hour game. Do it digitally. Charge less for it.
Yeah, it's a good shout.
No-brainer.
I think for me, it's gonna be there are so many that I love. Obviously, GoldenEye is one that always gets touted around. But I think in terms of really situating me within an IP, I'm going Star Wars and I'm going Rogue Squadron.
Such a great game.
Oh, that's good.
Because although the X-Wing and TIE Fighter games, they put you in that universe and they did kind of they made you feel a part of it, and there was some great stories in there, especially TIE Fighter, so fucking good.
TIE Fighter's the best of the bunch.
But it was. I remember playing Rogue Squadron the first one on the N64, and then fucking on the GameCube. When the second one came out, you're doing the Death Star trench run, and I'm just like, this is everything I've ever wanted. Yes.
Well, the thing is, it put you in the films, didn't it? That was the thing. The XVT
right
and X-Wing,
there.
they put you in the universe, but this one put you right in the middle of the best scenes of the films.
I am Luke Skywalker, and this is amazing. And yeah, that feeling is when a game gets that feeling, it's freaking fantastic. Right. So very quickly before we go this week, winners and losers of the week. Let's go with loser of the week. I'm gonna throw Naughty Dog out there.
Yes, I think they're
for two reasons. One, for Amy Hennig's departure in the first place, which we don't know how much of an effect that will have on the studio. And two, for this idea that this notion that she was forced out, which has been refuted now by Naughty Dog's co-creators. Where did that smoke come from, IGN? I don't know. But the thing is, like, it's just been a snowball of anxiety really this week. I think that's the key, and it won't be answered until we see more of Uncharted PS4. Like, how will the game be affected by Hennig's departure? Why did it happen? Blah blah blah. So just anxious times a little bit.
Yeah, especially since they're known as being a relatively friendly and happy sort of development studio as well. I mean, they crunch like the best of them, but like sort of Bungie were, they were known for making good games because they really enjoyed doing what they were doing. So it's always a shame when stories like this come along.
Yeah, it's important to note that it was a rumor. IGN cited anonymous sources, which is always a little bit suspect.
Yeah, IGN.
Yeah, IGN. But yeah, some worrying undertones there that I don't know. It'll be interesting to see how that develops. It'll be interesting to see what they come up with at E3. And it'll be interesting to see where Hennig lands, because she's a fantastic writer, and we need her to stay in this industry as much as possible.
Yes.
So that's my shout for loser of the week.
Yeah, I think that'll probably do us, to be honest.
Winners.
Winners of
Tomb Raider
the week. Yeah, it's got to be Crystal Dynamics, hasn't it? Because there's got to be nothing more galling than making a really good game, selling like 5 million copies, and then being told that you've failed by your bosses because they're complete idiots who don't know how to use a calculator and like projected some insane, impossible numbers for you to beat. Yeah. That's got to suck. But now, finally, thanks to the definitive edition, like Tomb Raider is about to, like top 6 million copies sold. They're going to like exceed profit expectations. That's a lovely bit of jargon, but basically it means that Square Enix are happy with them again, and a really good game is making some good money. So they've won.
Yeah. I suppose actually at the end of the day, after we kind of went, well, is this a shameless cash grab with the definitive edition? Do you know what? People bought it again, and do you know why? Because it's a great game, and if it helps create another one, yeah, all right.
Yeah, I can't wait to see what they do with that.
Cannot wait. Okay, so that's the Game Buzz. Thank you very much for listening, guys. As usual, if you guys have any questions or any sort of topics that you want to throw at us or whatever, just sort of comments on the mellifluous tones of our voices, do let us know in the comments below. We'll be back next week as per usual with another troll through the news from the previous 7 days. But until then, thanks so much for listening. Do hit subscribe if you're listening to this on YouTube, and we'll catch you then. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.